Champions! That's got to go somewhere. Nah. It will. No, it will. Yes!
Welcome to Matchday Live. 5 trophies in a calendar year. Champions of England, Champions of Europe, and for the first time ever, we can finally say Champions of the World. My name's FG and I'm joined by Steve Howe. What a Christmas we've had. It's so nice to call us Champions of the World, isn't it?
It's a fantastic thing to call yourself. I mean, when you look at the game, to be quite honest, it was pretty comfortable. But is that because City are that good? I'm going to go along them lines. But it is absolutely superb. I mean, the big 5 were an achievement. And then when you think somebody like Alvarez, he's got a World Cup in his pocket as well, which is a crazy year that he's had.
An absolutely crazy year for everybody, in particular everyone watching Matchday Live tonight. Now, we will have some pitch-side bits here at Goodison Park. Straight back into action. We've got a new kit to talk about, which I'm sure the guys in the studio will do. But obviously, it's just been Christmas, and I have to ask Steve Howe. I already know the answer to this, by the way. Wait for this one. What did you get for Christmas?
Do you know what? I've been doing games for years and years, and I got a heated gilet. I'm going to go gilet, it's a posh name. And a heated scarf. I haven't turned them on yet. I cannot wait for the game to start so I can turn them on.
I was wondering why Steve had a button on his scarf, and you can see exactly why. We're going to head to the studio where they're probably a lot warmer than us. I might try and take that scarf off him. We'll head over to Cel and the guys in the studio.
Thank you so much to FG and Steve Howe, and here with the celebrations at the Etihad Stadium as we completed the Big 5. Welcome along to Matchday Live, and to everyone who was celebrating, we're wishing you a very Merry Christmas. My name is Cel Spellman. It's so great to be with you as we build up to our game as we take on Everton at Goodison Park at 8:15. Here to get into that, well, what a centre-half lineup we have here in the form of Joleon, Lescott and Phil Jagielka. Phil, first time on the show. Must be very exciting given the form that Everton have been in so far. Sean Dyche doing a brilliant job there at Everton.
Yeah, excited to be here. Obviously, when I decided I was coming on, I was a little bit nervous with the way the results have gone. But no, fantastic recently, I think. Obviously, with the points deduction that was thrown at them, there's a perfect reaction. 4 wins on the spin, and they've climbed up. But obviously, everyone else is coming at them quickly from behind.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, Joleon, it's funny. I mean, you'd be thinking maybe a bit when you were at City, Everton were always classed as a bit of a bogey team for City. We kind of seem to alleviate that a little bit, but coming into this game, I've got to say, I'm a little bit nervous. I come out with trepidation because of the team we're coming up against and the form they're in.
Yeah, the form probably isn't as worrying as it is being at Goodison. I think the Goodison factor is a bigger issue, or has a bigger impact than the actual form of Everton. I think from previous experience playing in both sides of this fixture, I think you probably go into it or have more confidence from an Everton perspective when you play the bigger teams on a bad run of form. Do you know what I mean?
I agree, though. I think it's 2 games.
Yeah.
Away at the Etihad, you know you're not going to have the ball.
Yeah. It's
so hard. At home at Goodison, we fancied it.
Yeah.
And without being, like, even now, cold night, close to Christmas, like, this could not be a better choice of occasion.
Yes.
Obviously,
if the scenario, if they're picking a scenario, they're picking this.
Exactly, yeah. If it was summer playing at the Etihad and all sorts, you know you're going to get a chase around, and you're probably trying to keep it down. Whereas today, it's never a good time to play Man City, especially with the players they've got. But like Joel said, I think being at Goodison, and if you were ever going to pick a time, it would maybe a bit more frost or a bit more hailstone or something.
If we want to really choose, maybe a couple of weeks down the line, we'll take it here between Christmas and New Year. Well, listen, let's get straight into team news, gents. I can now bring you our starting 11, of course, chosen by Pep. The lads are back from Jeddah after completing, let me just remind you, the Big 5, because we are now champions of the world. And I can tell you right now, first place to find out, 2 changes from that team that won the FIFA Club World Cup. This is our starting 11. In goal, we have Ederson. Then a back 4 consisting of Kyle Walker, of course, our captain. John Stones partners Akanji, with Nathan Ake completing the back 4. Moving into the midfield, there he is, the ever-present Rodri in centre midfield. Now, this will probably be up for debate. We're thinking here maybe Nunes and Bernardo in the middle, but we know Foden could drop into there as well, so we've got him on the right, but that could, I think, also, well, be Nunes or Bernardo. And then finishing off that starting 11, Jack Grealish out on the left, of course, in some great form with a few goals from him. And then Juleon Alvarez, who I can say has completed football this calendar year. Let's get into that team now. And, do you know, just a quick word on Alvarez. I just said to the gents here in the studio, quite amazing journey. I think he's the only, I don't know if it's even a kind of first time ever, only player that when he wears his international shirt and his club shirt, he will have world champion badge on both the middle. I mean, it's an amazing achievement, that.
Ridiculous.
23 years old.
Ridiculous. At any stage of your career, it's ridiculous, but I don't think that's something you anticipate. I don't think you grow up loving the game and thinking, I'm going to be world champion for club and country. Do you know what I mean? So for him, and he's not just part of the squad. In either squad, he's like an integral part of the team. So we've seen the form and the dynamics change of Argentina when he came into the team. So he deserves everything he's going to get. And we spoke about it, the Ballon d'Or, the Golden Ball. He was overlooked, which was remarkable for me because he's been so impactful in both.
Massively, couldn't agree more on that. Let's look to the other side of the pitch. I want to begin with a player that you'll know well as well, and I know City fans have really missed at the start of the season, but John Stones picked up that injury, seems to be coming back into the team now, finding his form, an integral part for City. Just how impressed have you been with kind of his trajectory at City from the time that you've known him?
Yeah, we always had obviously big aspirations for him. He had a big move to Man City and he hit the ground running, had a couple of good seasons and maybe a couple of seasons where he didn't play and he wasn't first choice as much as he would have liked, and it was a testament to his character that he came back and probably slightly changed his role. I say I have a laugh and a joke when I see him making forward runs and doing Cruyffs in the middle of the pitch, but he's always had that in the bag. He's always been very comfortable on the ball and prepared to sort of take a bit more risk, especially as a defender. You're not really taught to take too much risk with the ball. Well, probably not when me and Joel were playing anyway, a little bit more so now, but no, I think it's a big cog in the Man City team, you know, where everyone moves and the positions that everyone takes up. When John doesn't play, there's other players that play that role, but for me don't offer exactly what John does, and he even popped in with a couple of goals last season as well, so I'm sure he'll be trying to get off the mark this year.
Absolutely. On that left-hand side, we're thinking obviously Akanji will probably partner him, Ake at left-back, and as we know from last season, they give us that control, but also actually as a defensive unit, very solid, particularly Ake one-on-one, which as we know with Everton, they can come out as further, you know, in the game. Yeah,
barring John Stones, I'll probably say the other defenders are probably more comfortable, like, defending, which is remarkable to say in today's game. I think most defenders want to be in possession. John Stones will defend and can defend, but his attribute is in possession. But Akanji, Ake and Kyle Walker, now you look at them and say, they look at opponents and like, go on then, test me, try and beat me, and they enjoy that challenge. So I think the balance is perfect, and like Jags was saying, I don't think anyone can emulate what John Stones does, but I also think now teams having to accommodate that. I think it's not just a case of, oh, they've got someone extra midfield, an extra mid-defender. It's like, oh, John Stones is in there, he can actually hurt us, so we're going to need to factor that into the setup of the opposition team. You mentioned about the atmosphere of Goodison and what that can do to opposition teams. Coolness and staying calm and not letting that get to you is going to be key. And one player I think who does that so well for City is Rodri. Phil, if you had him playing in front of you, I mean, you would have been delighted, I'm guessing. And just how important is he going to be coming up against this Everton team today? Because you've got some big centre midfielders on the Everton side as well.
I think statistically it backs it up. It reminds me, it's funny because we had Gaz Barry when he left City, he came to Everton.
Yeah.
And he gave me the same vibe.
Yeah.
He was on the same wavelength. He'd give me an angle when I needed an angle. He wouldn't stand in a wasted space when he wasn't needed. You know, he'd read the game so well. And I think in that position, he's a fantastic footballer. He can use every attribute. Head, he scores long distance goals. But I think his brain, knowing when to plug little holes and do everything, allows the rotation. It allows, like you say, when you're three at the back, and then even if you're two at the back, he comes in to make the third. I say him again. You guys have struggled a little bit when he's not played. Yeah. It's not because you've not got good footballers or good central midfielders. It's just I don't think you've got, like I say, the person who's so relaxed and so clever in the way he does. And like I say, for me, it reminds me when I watched so much of what Gaz Barry did for us. And I presume he probably did it for you as well, John, when he was at Man City.
He's one of my favourite players.
He's so underrated, but I loved it because, like I say, when you're the same wavelength as someone, especially as a defensive unit, it makes it so much easier.
And then, as you know, also for the defensive unit, but then the players going forward, knowing they've got that behind is key, and that's why I kind of wanted to bring in Núñez because he's the only other change. Akanji's come in for Diaz, who's not on the bench, so we're not too sure what's happened there. If we find anything, we'll let you know as soon as we do. Núñez comes in for Rico Lewis. What do you think the thinking is there? And obviously got his goal as well in the Club World Cup. So do you think maybe now starting to find his form a bit, possibly, Joe?
Definitely, I think he's had a massive impact, especially in the Club World Cup. But the physicality of him. Obviously, he's more imposing figure physically than Rico, but you can see the confidence in his game now and the transition. For me, I think when he's able to pick up or disrupt an attack of the opposition and then just turn it into an attack by running with the ball, travelling with it rather than playing it forward, I think that's the element that is different to most of the other midfielders.
We're going to hear from FG and Steve Howe in just a sec, who, as you saw at the start of the show, are live from Goodison. I just wanted to quickly ask you, gents, league position at Christmas. Do you as players, did you used to talk about that? Obviously, we're coming up to halfway through, but, you know, does that have a bearing on how the season's going to play out for you, Phil?
Well, for us, a lot of the time, we were quite slow starters at Everton, so we had to look at it as a whole. It wasn't a case of, like, get halfway at Christmas, have half as many points or whatever. I think we struggled in the transfer market. We struggled to sort of get players into. Sometimes it was sort of like acclimatising a squad was a little bit late. So we always felt that after Christmas, we had what we had and we were going to kick on and go forward. I think when you're challenging for the league, I think you have to be a bit more conscious of what other teams are doing, because obviously, you know, bar the amazing run you guys had not too many years ago where you basically won about 40 points on the spin.
Yeah.
It's not normally what happens in the Premier League, and I think if you look at it, not many teams are able to be first and stay first over the course of how long the Premier League has been around. Yeah,
the kind of stats there. I was just wondering, Joleon, do you think it kind of where City are at now, because they've been there before? Obviously, if we win today, we go within 3 points. So we've seen bigger gaps before, but, you know, I just wondered mentally, can it fester in the players' minds?
Yeah, I think it'll have a bigger impact on everyone else rather than us.
Interesting.
Win or lose, I think they'll see more optimism. Opposition players will see more optimism if City don't win today, but if they do win, they'll be aware that it's 3 points. It's literally one game, and they've still got to play all them teams anyway. So you just don't want to be the next team to drop points if you're Man City.
Yes.
Obviously, you've missed weeks, so it could have been a lot more daunting with teams winning and the gap being bigger. Even though you've got games in hand, it could have been a bit more daunting. But to come back and be like, well, we've missed a couple of games and we could be 3 points behind with games in hand now, it's like, oh, now we're in a strong position. But I think it's just a rhythm. This Pep talks about it all the time, this group of players. As soon as they hit a rhythm, which it kind of seemed to hit whilst I was away, and then I think that's the more worrying factor for the opposition. I think they're just like, oh, yeah, City are ready for it now.
I think the key aspect as well is you've come home with a cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, if you'd have gone there, like you say, Joel said, teams would have won, you're now 9 points off.
Yeah.
You'd have come home, you've had to play for third and fourth, and it was a sort of waste of time.
Yes.
I think it would have a different environment and a different mindset. I think, like you say, if you're going to get put to this game and if Man City get the result they want and they're only 3 points behind, other teams will be thinking,
yeah.
do you know, again?
Here we go again.
Yeah, it could be.
We're about to start.
That's exactly the mindset for those. But like I say, Pep would have drilled his team to be pretty relaxed.
Yeah, and kick on. Right, well, listen, gents, let's go hear from FG and Steve Howe. They're pitch side at Goodison Park. Let's see what they're making of our starting 11.
Yes, welcome back to Goodison Park. We've seen the Manchester City team news, and we're going to react to it here with Steve Howe. Steve, there's only one place to start, and it has to be the man who has possibly had the best 2023 in football. He's still so young. He's won everything, including a World Cup. Julian Alvarez.
Yeah, I mean, the lad has had a magnificent year. And I think, you know, for what he's achieved in such a young age is absolutely incredible. I mean, to get that World Cup and the Big Five, as we've mentioned, absolutely superb. But it's what the lad deserves, like the rest of the players do. To be fair, that Big Five trophy is absolutely superb. But obviously, he's got that World Cup.
What I like so much about him, and I'm sure people watching on Matchday Live will think the same, is how humble he is, how hard-working he is. He's not lost any of that hunger because, obviously, of course, he's still so young and he's got so much to prove. You mentioned off-camera that you loved playing here. Talk to me about the atmosphere this stadium can generate, and talk to me about how it might be for him as an attacker tonight.
Well, the atmosphere is always brilliant. I class this as like kind of an old-school ground. It's very tight, it's compact. you feel as though the fans can more or less like reach out and touch you. And it just does give a brilliant atmosphere. As I said, I've played here a lot, I've won here a good few times, I've lost here a good few times. I can't remember actually drawing here, if I'm being brutally honest, but it's a fabulous ground to play in. But the pitch, I mean, just before actually we're doing this, you know yourself, it's been pouring down, so it's going to be very slippy, very greasy. The ball's going to skip off the surface, and that could be brilliant for people like Alvarez, because when it comes to the defender, if he's not switched on and it skips off the surface, he could be away and obviously hopefully get a goal.
It is also absolutely freezing. One of us is cold, the other one has an electric gilet. Is that how you said it?
Gilet. At the moment, it looks like a bit like a what is it? Like not a scarf, but cravat. Actually, I've said the word cravat and gilet.
Cravat and gilet. Right, let's move on from the cravat and gilet and let's talk about another one of our own, Phil Foden. I'm a massive fan of him. This year seems to be the year that he's getting more game time in the team, deservedly so. He's got such a great attitude, unbelievable ability as well, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, a wonderful, wonderful player. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to see quite a lot of him and see him kind of live, if you want. And I think just the attributes that he has, the ability that he has, and again, another one that's so young. You know, the future for likes of him and Alvarez is absolutely scary.
The future is definitely bright for Manchester City, and a bright future for a man who hasn't really started as much, and that's Matheus Nunes in midfield. We think he's going to be a little bit attacking in this midfield. He seems to carry the ball really, really well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with him before he came to City, but as you sort of said before we came on air, we spoke about him. He hasn't really featured that much for City, but I can't wait to watch him. And again, it's another opportunity quite close to see him live.
Super important in places like this to control a possession, and it looks like the midfield that we're going with Bernardo, with Rodri and with Nunes is sort of based on that. And with, of course, Kevin coming back, we've seen the training pictures, we've seen everything. It seems like this is an opportunity for Nunes to stamp his authority on the team as well. Yeah,
of course, it's an opportunity for him, because as you sort of said, there's a good chance Kevin De Bruyne is not going to be that far away, see him training. But yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity for him. It will be tough today because they're on a decent run. Yes, they got beat against Tottenham last time out, but they have won 4 on the trot before that. As I said, the atmosphere is brilliant. They'll try and get at City very early doors, but I think that midfield that's where it's going to be a good battle. And when you've got players like that in there, I'm hoping to see good things.
Absolutely, and of course we have to talk quickly about Jack Grealish as well. We can't leave Super Jack out. He has been absolutely magnificent, and you know what? He's had surprisingly, he's had his critics, but he comes back stronger and stronger, doesn't he?
Yeah, I love him. I really do. I think he's a wonderful player. He comes across as a fantastic person. I've never met him, but he comes across as a wonderful person. But again, I can't wait to watch him play, because he's another one of these players that's got everything.
He has indeed, and we absolutely love him as well. Super Jack Grealish. In November, we asked you to nominate your fellow citizens and City-loving friends or family who you felt deserved an unforgettable treat this Christmas. 14-year-old Harry Taylor was chosen for an unforgettable festive surprise, witnessing the Big Five just hours after we completed the set with our FIFA Club World Cup triumph in Jeddah.
Whoa! First time in English football, I know, and they're all here in your house.
So, we're about to surprise a very special City fan, Harry. We're going to his home now with the trophies, fresh off the plane after last night's Club World Cup victory. So, we're en route now to the family home for the citizens' Christmas surprise. We can't wait to meet Mum and get everything set up. Hello, lovely to meet you. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about Harry.
Yes, well, fitting well up to sort of this time last year, and then unfortunately just got ill, ended up taken to Royal Manchester Children's Hospital for emergency surgery, and then subsequently had a number of operations where things didn't quite go as planned. Came home for a few weeks, but then went back in again. But since May, he's been home and well on the way to recovery, yeah. My husband's dad, been a City fan all his life, back in the main road days. Then obviously the boys got season tickets, so my eldest has a season ticket with his granddad and they go to all the home matches and a few away matches too, yeah.
Lovely. And I heard Joe, his brother, played a big part Can you share a little bit on that, please?
Yeah, Joe was just amazing. He was only 17 at the time when it happened, so his whole life was turned upside down. We were coming and going, so we tried really hard to keep things as stable as we could at home for him while he was at college studying. But yeah, I know he's been just amazing. So proud of him.
How do you think Harry will react to all of this?
Oh my goodness, I think he's going to be totally overwhelmed. He's quite a quiet and shy person, so I think he's just going to wonder what on earth is going on. But yeah, totally overwhelmed. Joe will be incredibly overwhelmed. Yeah, I'm very excited.
I think the trophies are on the way actually, so
oh my goodness,
should we get set up?
Yeah, can't wait to see them all in one place. Yeah.
So we're all set. How far away are they?
Just a few minutes away. Yeah.
Great. How are you feeling?
Really nervous now. Really nervous. Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, your mum nominated you for Citizen's Christmas surprise, and are you surprised? Yeah.
All 5 of them. First time in English football, I know, and they're all here in your house.
Oh no! Oh gosh! Oh, I'm nearly crying. Who needs Christmas Day?
But I don't think you can beat me in the stands, but this is something else.
So basically, it's the net from the UCL final that Rodri scored into.
You got it.
From watching it
there,
it's now in your lounge.
Wow.
I think you'll remember this for a while. Makes up for last year, doesn't it? Yeah, definitely.
Does it mean a lot to you, Harry?
Yeah, it does.
If you sort of think back 12 months, he'd had his first operation and he wasn't recovering. You know, he was in a hospital bed. You know, we'd all hoped the operation would have worked, and it hadn't, and he was in there recovering, you know, and it was difficult, you know, knowing that we were going to spend Christmas in hospital, essentially. And not just Christmas, you know, carrying on till sort of April and May. But we're here now, and that's the great thing. It's like you have to keep that hope, you have to keep positive, you have to do as you're told by the doctors, and you can get there, as he's shown. You know, he's well on the mend now, so it's just really good. And we think it's going to be strange this year, Christmas, because you know, it's 2 years since we've had a Christmas, isn't it? This is just one to remember forever.
All we really wish for was all 4 of us in the same place, wasn't it, on Christmas Day? But we've got that and so much more, haven't we?
Yeah.
Just amazing. Thank you so much.
So, Merry Christmas and a huge thank you from everyone at the Taylor household. This has just been amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, it gives me great pleasure to welcome on to Matchday Live now. You can see in the screen behind me none other than the man himself, the legend Harry Taylor, alongside his mum Sarah and brother Joe. I'm going to begin with you, though, Harry, my friend. First of all, it's so great to hear that you're doing well and you got to spend Christmas together. But talk me through that moment when you came into your living room and saw those 5 trophies.
It was quite surreal and a shock, really, to walk in and see all 5 trophies right there.
Did you know, we just said in the studio, I loved seeing your granddad's reaction. I mean, even for you as City fans as well. I mean, same for me. We can't believe that we've won 5 trophies, the big 5. It is quite amazing, isn't it? You must be buzzing as City fans, Harry.
Yeah, it's very good, very exciting to win all 5 trophies all in one season.
Sarah, we were so lovely to hear from you in there. You mentioned at the end of the VT, of course, all you'd been wishing for the last 2 years is to be together at Christmas. How has that been this year? Have you had a wonderful Christmas together?
I think we'd all agree. It's been probably one of the best Christmases we've had. Ate lots, had lots to drink, but laughed lots as well, which was just incredible. Yeah, really, really enjoyed it and spent some precious time with family. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's always the most important thing. And Joe, I mean, I've got a younger brother as well, and was very moved just to kind of think of your journey through it. I mean, now to be out the other side, and obviously City to have done what they've done, how have you been feeling, mate?
Oh, yeah, I mean, City winning the 5 trophies was brilliant, but getting Harry home was the best thing this year. Closely followed by City early in the treble. But yeah, it's just brilliant, really. And
Harry, I'll ask you, what have you made of City's start to the season? Obviously, we're Club World Champions, struggled a bit in the league. What have you made of City's first half of the campaign?
We've done very well. We've won the Super Cup, the Club World Cup. We're still fighting for the league. Won some important games. So I think we're doing very good, yeah.
Joe, I mean, I know you said there you get to the games with your granddad. It does feel hopefully now maybe with this trophy win that we could really kick on and put on those runs that we've been so familiar seeing with City.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We start well and then we have a little blip, but we always end up coming back, and we will with Kevin coming back and Erling, he'll be back soon, hopefully. So we'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine.
Right, and Sarah, final question. What are the plans for New Year? Will you all be spending it together as a family?
Yeah, we've got some friends coming round and that'll be really nice because they really supported us, friends and family and neighbours and work colleagues and things like that. So it's really nice to share that experience with them in the new year, yeah.
Well, listen, we as, at Manchester City and everyone here, we just want to say, send a massive thank you and send all our love. It's a story we're so happy has got the happy ending and we were able to bring you those 5 trophies. Before I let you go, though, anyone who comes on the show has to give me a prediction. So we begin with you, Sarah, and we'll finish off with Harry. Sarah, what's the score going to be tonight?
I think it could be a narrow victory for City, 2-1, I think.
2-1, OK. Joe, what about you, mate?
I'll go 3-1. I think we'll edge them out and get 3. Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of feeling. What about you, Harry?
I think either 3-1 or 3-2, personally.
3-1 or 3-2. Love it. Goals. Well, listen, have a wonderful new year and a massive thank you again. And we'll see you at the Etihad very soon. Lots of love.
Oh, thanks ever so much. Thank you.
No worries, not at all. Beautiful story there, Joe. And we talk about kind of what the club does for the fans, but they've never lost that, have they, really, with being in touch with the fan base?
No, amazing community work. To be a part of that and to play a part in some of them situations, some of them events is nice and humbling experience. But yeah, to hear that and to see what that means to our families is remarkable.
It is. I mean, we've got the 5 trophies here in the state. How that must have looked in the living room. It must have taken up all the space. Big house. Yeah. Well, sticking just with the fans theme for just a second now, you may remember a few shows ago, we gave 2 of you the chance to win 2 tickets to come and watch Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium. Els went behind the scenes when we faced Liverpool, and on that show she asked you a question that you had to answer, and I'm so amazed to say that thousands of you entered to try and win these 2 tickets, and I can reveal that one of you will be getting your hand on those 2 tickets. We have got a winner, but I'm not going to be revealing it now. I'm going to be revealing it at half-time. So that means you're going to have to come back. Remember, we give you a little half-time show and a full-time show. So if you did enter that competition and you want to find out if you are the lucky winner, then please do come back at half-time and I'll reveal who's got those 2 tickets to come visit us at the Etihad Stadium. But now let's get back to why we're here. We're taking on Everton at Goodison Park in, well, around 35 minutes. So let's go over to FG and Steve Howe. They have got the Everton starting 11.
Yes, hello and welcome back to Goodison Park. I have got the Everton team news to bring you. In goal is Jordan Pickford, and then it is Patterson, and then it is Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Mikalenko, Onana, Andre Gomez, Garner, Harrison, McNeil and Beto. The substitutes are on the screen, and joining me pitchside for his Matchday live debut is still Ryan. It
feels so good to be here.
Ryan is representing Everton tonight, and we've got the Everton team, so let's get your insight into it, and let's start with Andre Gomez, a man you wanted to speak about a lot. He had a horrendous injury, which I'm sure everybody watching Matchday live will remember. How has he bounced back?
It feels amazing. In the Spurs game, he came on after 20 minutes or so, and he's made every fan just dream of him coming back. All the fans are speaking about it, everyone. And today, he's been given his chance. It feels beautiful.
Now, Everton are really in a good run of form, and we're coming here. Of course, we've had some really good battles over the years. A man who's ever present in the Everton team and in the England team is Jordan Pickford. Let's talk about him. Obviously, we've seen him in an England shirt. He's never let us down. He's been brilliant. What is the feeling on the Everton side?
It's always been the same. You know, he signed that big contract with us. He put his loyalty into us. It just feels amazing to have a number one exactly like Jordan represent our club. It feels fantastic.
He relishes big occasions as well, doesn't he? Because we've obviously seen it. We've been grateful enough to see him in an England shirt. He relishes this, and the fans get behind him. And this place is, I think Steve Howe said earlier on, that this place is super close to the pitch, and the fans get really involved, and he loves that, doesn't he?
We love players who can resonate with the fans, and he is definitely one of them. Speaking from a fan's point of view, we love Jordan, we love Andre, we love the whole team. And when they turn up to play every game and they show us that they're fighting for it, no matter the results, it's exactly what Dyche wants and what us fans want.
Now, one thing that is a little bit of a surprise for me looking at the team from an outside is no Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Beto's in for him. Are you shocked at that?
I'm a little bit shocked, but I know the man at the reins knows what he's doing. Sean Dyche knows what he's cooking. Hey, it might be a bowl of scouse, it might be a Sunday roast, but I know he's cooking it to a perfection. Mwah.
Well, OK, so let's talk about Sean Dyche then. He's come in, and you know what? Back to his Burnley days, he was sensational, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He kept Burnley up year after year after year. He seems to have really steadied the ship here. I mean, we've got, of course, Tarkowski. We've got Dwight McNeil.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, I can tell you absolutely love him. He's brought a feel-good factor back to Goodison Park.
Yeah, he's just amazing, you know. He spent a long time at Burnley. You know, he done his things, he done what he needed to do. He's went down, he's went up with them. But I feel at Everton, he's just like when your mum brings in the main course and the plate's done, and then she brings in that fresh plate of dessert. I feel like he's done his main course, and now at Everton, he's got all the experience, he's got everything he needs in his basket to go and just cook the most amazing dessert ever, and that's what he's doing at Everton Football Club.
Well, you're making me very hungry. Can I get a quick score prediction from you for everybody on Matchday Live? You can clip this, by the way, if he gets it wrong.
I am going to say it is a 3-3 very high-scoring game, or a 1-0 Everton park the bus.
Oh, OK, so you're not giving a chance to Manchester City?
I'll give you your chance, 3-3.
I think City will win 3-1. Let's head back to the studio. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Fair enough. Thank you so much there. And I'm looking forward to getting Phil's prediction in just a little bit. But yeah, let's begin with that starting 11. Should we begin with the midfield? We were just talking about Gomez there. What does he bring to that Everton team, do you think?
Well, I think, echoing what we just said, he gives them something different. I think his quality, Portuguese international. He came over, he was on fire. He struggled a little bit with his injuries, obviously had the big injury. And I think it gives them something different. I think they've lost Decore, who's obviously the main source of goals. Yeah. Even obviously, though we've got other strikers in there. But I think with Andre, if he starts the game well, he'll be composed and he'll be probably the most composed person on the pitch. And I include quite a few Man City players in there. He's that good. Yeah, agreed. But he's going to be potentially starve the ball a little bit because obviously you expect Man City to have a lot of control. But I think it's important if they can manage him. I just hope he doesn't have to play probably 90 minutes because obviously in quick succession, because the last thing Everton need is obviously another injury, especially in the midfield because obviously they've lost Idrissa and Decore in the middle.
Yeah, two big losses there for Everton, but I mean they still seem to be kind of keeping that momentum. One part that we were saying off the camera, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, is so key for Everton. What do you think the thinking is there with Beto? I know that the lads touched upon it.
I'm guessing, anticipating he's thinking we're not going to have as much possession as they used to or they want, so it's going to be more out possession, so it's harder working balls down the sides and making it more difficult in regards to just turning Man City. So Beto's probably better for that, and in the greatest respect to this game and Everton's next one against Wolves, they're probably looking and thinking, well, we'll probably have more chances against Wolves, so you want a more prolific striker. Yes. And Calvert-Lewin, he's had his injuries issues, so to risk him in terms of just playing him, 2-3 games in the space of a week, it makes sense to me. But going back to Gomez as well, I think the danger of that is you bring someone in that is probably your best possession-based player, but you're playing the best possession-based team, so most of his job or most of his work is going to be out of possession. Yes. So it's going to kind of be interesting to see how he manages that.
The only thing I can think of, if he plays him a slight bit higher, and if you're not going to press Man City too much, that might save his legs. I think if you play him in one of the two, today it'd be a very tough job, especially we won't be that match fit because he's not played that many games. But if you play him sort of as a 10, maybe if he creates a bit of magic, he obviously scored a great goal against Spurs last week. But I say, and with Dom, I think he's openly said he's constantly having conversations with the physios, the doctors, the manager about his body, and I think he may listen to it now.
Yeah.
He gets an age. Me and Joel have been there. Like, you play through injuries, you know, you take painkillers and you get through it, and you're lucky. Some people are lucky, some people aren't. I'm sure Dom's played through a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Whereas now he might be sort of grown up enough to just say, look, boss, maybe I'll be better off only doing half an hour, 20 minutes tonight, or he may not come on at all.
Johnny, with the Everton setup, would you think much is going to change from what we're used to seeing from Everton at Goodison because City are coming there, or do you think it'll be much the same?
No, I think it's going to change due to Man City. I don't think Everton are going to want to sit back. They're going to want to be on the front foot and press and build that momentum from the crowd. Like, a challenge or throw-in could churn that place. Like, it doesn't have to be a goal. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. It's just hard graft, and that could lift the whole stadium. So he'll be aware of that. The players will be aware of that. So in terms of seeing something different, sorry, I expect him to be deeper, but that's based on the possession that Man City will have. And then all of a sudden they could just create an atmosphere out of one tackle or one throw-in or just anything could change momentum there.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to go to Goodison as a away fan. It's a tasty atmosphere because it's so close to the pitch. One of my favourite stadiums, one of the last old ones as well, isn't it? Looking at the other side of the pitch, we know how, you know, Sean Dyche has been known over the years for what he kind of builds at the back, and you must be so impressed with Everton's defence. Of course, as well, the young centre-half as well as it Brandway. I mean, I've got an Everton fan who keeps telling me he's a City player if ever he's seen one.
I think the key aspect is especially the little sort of trio, the goalkeeper, the two centre-halves, he's managed to keep them together.
Yeah.
Obviously, Branthwaite went to PSV, and I think it was the best thing for him. He got away from sort of the noise Everton, got to play lots of games, and I think they were really keen to keep him. Joel's had him before, and I think he's very good technically as well. He's obviously, was he 6'4", he's quick. You know, he's everything that a modern centre-half is this day and age. But I think Sean Dyche will be happy that he's got, probably the most of the time, he's kept the same left back, the same two centre halves. The right back's changed a little bit throughout the season, but the back 4-5, I think when you know it's solid, you know, we've done it for years. You've played literally 30 to 38 games as a unit. You feel so confident going out on the pitch that if you do nick a goal, you're more than likely going to win the game. Whereas previous seasons, it turned around so many times, and people have been looking for the sort of the right person to play alongside the right person. It's just not worked out. But this year, I think that's obviously the main thing for Sean is that he's kept pretty much the same sort of back 4, back 5 for most of the season. Yeah, that kind of consistency has been key. Just moving the chat on slightly, and this is just something I wanted to kind of pick up, because you both have played with players, you know, that kind of have now turned into managers. Is it something? Do they make it known early doors? You know, players that you play with, or are there some that you kind of do you spot and go, I could always see you're going to be a manager? Obviously, Company is one.
Yeah, Vinny was one.
Arteta, you know, for you. I mean, there's loads on the list. We've got Wayne Rooney as well, Lee Carsley. There's a good few.
I think the easy one was Vinny, but easy in terms of whatever he said he was going to do, I would have said, yeah. Like, if he said he was going to be Prime Minister of Belgium or Congo, like, I would have been, yeah, I believe you. So whatever he set his mind to, he was going to have a crack at it and give a good account of himself. Mikel's an interesting one. I didn't see this, if I'm honest. Intelligence and his understanding of the game I've seen, because he changed positions when we were there, and the way he played as a holding midfielder, which most people recognise him as now, like in terms of from his Arsenal days, where when I went to Everton and when we were there together, he was a left winger, like, and he was going past players as a left winger, and then he wanted to play midfield, and I was like, I'm not sure that's your strength, and then he played there, and he was like really good. Obviously, then went to Arsenal, but I seen his intelligence of the game, but I didn't see the managerial credentials.
I agree. I'm not going to use the word selfish, it wasn't the right way, but he was very much into himself.
Yeah.
So he prepared himself properly for a game, and he was very professional in that way, but I never saw him going on that next level of coaching. But then obviously when he joined Man City under Pep, it was almost like it was the same body and same person, but his mannerisms were totally different. And you could almost see that he might as well have had a notepad next to him, and he was, you know, mimicking, taking it all in and all sorts. And even when the Arsenal job came, I didn't think he'd get it purely because he wasn't experienced enough.
I thought Everton. There was an Everton. There was talk of him going to Everton at that time.
More of a chance of that. I thought
that makes sense.
Yeah. But to be fair to him, fair play, you know. Yeah. He's had to sort of clean out a lot of players that they've spent a lot of money on that haven't done as well as maybe they wanted to, and they've gone on. You know, the other ones that stick out obviously haven't probably had longevity in many of the jobs, and it's strange. Like you say, Wayne, you know, Steve and Frank.
You know, like it's Frank, Stevie, Yeah, I've seen that. Didn't see Wayne, potentially.
Yeah.
Lee Carsley, and I've said this numerous times, I've never seen a coach have a rapport with players like that.
Wow.
In my whole career. I've never seen a manager or a head coach just absorb everyone's attention, like, so kind of, like...
He was like that when we played him, though, wasn't he?
He was...
I didn't know him before I joined Everton.
Yeah, I didn't.
Within like a month.
Yeah.
To me, a little while, because he's been quite quirky, so you're not sure if...
He's dry sense of humour, so you don't know if he's being serious or not, and you're like, oh, he's joking.
I think once you've cracked it...
Yeah.
You've got him then.
And he's got you. But that's more important. He's got you, so like you're listening to every... I remember when I first joined the 21s and he'd give his team talk, I literally wanted to get my kit on and have a game. Like,
do you think that role suits him more because of his... Do you know, like his mannerisms?
Yeah,
do you think you can still do that in men's football, though? Do you think you the same response?
Because I think today's game, I think they've changed the mentality of they need to know you care and it's genuine, and he definitely is genuine. So
no tough love anymore.
Yeah and no, but he's built up a relationship with everyone that allows him to have a dig and make fun of you, and you not hold it against him where we've played with players. It's not that. It's literally, I want you to be the best you can be, and if you're not, it's because you're not trying, not because I'm not giving you everything you need. But yeah, I've never seen anything like that.
Phil, let's bring it over to you, of course. I mean, because from Manchester, born in Cel, and then did you have trials at City earlier on? I know you went to Sheffield when you were 15.
Yeah, I got released by Everton, funnily enough.
No way, right?
And a coach came to Man City, then I came here and openly probably played the worst football of my life. I'd been released and I was changing boots. I was blaming everything. I think the pitch was round, the ball was square. But that's the way it is. You know, I was a 15-year-old lad. I thought I was doing OK, and before you know it, you were told you're not good enough, and it's not a nice place to be. But you know, thankfully, Sheffield rang up. I went there for a week, and next thing you know, I've signed there. 8 years later, I'd obviously made a career. Played against Joel a number of times. He beat me in the playoff final, so I've still not sort of forgiven him for that.
You did all right. You did all right in the game. You did all right. Yeah.
But no, and then obviously came back over this way, played for Everton, and went back to Sheffield. So I've been doing sort of just exactly. Yeah. I tried to get into Man City when they were about to win all the trophies, but I think Joel took it away from me.
Both couldn't go. Both couldn't make it.
I was showing off my left foot, but my left foot was no good. No.
You mentioned the playoff there, but obviously for Everton as well, there must have been some real fond memories of when you were playing for Everton. I mean, the one we've got here that City fans will be buzzing to know, and we made sure we need to get this in, of course, the penalty against Man United, which obviously stopped them then from going on to do that quadruple that time. I mean, were there any other standout?
Was that? Oh, fair play.
Yeah.
Well, Joel played in the game. Joel was just behind me in the queue for penalties.
Way behind.
I think he was,
I'm not a penalty taker.
No. Neither was I, but I got bullied into taking one.
Was that the same season you took one against Fiorentina?
No, afterwards. I missed that one. Cheers, Joel.
No, but that's right, because that was a massive... I remember that was a massive moment.
No, that was the season before.
Yeah, but I remember the moment against United was like huge. So,
because I didn't want to take it, so I'd missed one previously, but we had no penalty takers really. Bainesy, who eventually became an amazing penalty taker, hadn't taken them for Everton at the moment. But we looked round and we had we had a really good bunch of lads, but we looked round and about 4 or 5 of them were literally just like this as they were putting the hand up. So
I didn't turn around. I literally
Joel was just flat out. He got to 4 and then the manager was like, who else are going to take one? And obviously he must have caught my eye. To be fair, we'd been practising, man. I was relaxed because I knew what I was doing.
You'd been practising.
I knew what I was doing, and I knew Fozzie was in goal, which makes it worse sometimes as well.
Yeah.
So he gave me a little bit of banter. Then I thankfully slotted it in, and that was. But then I didn't get to play in the final, did I?
No, with
the
injury.
What do you remember of obviously playing, you know, with your time that kind of crossed over? And as well, I've got here as well, you were capped together 7 times in England together, both
probably our best performance. One of England's best performances against Spain. We we beat Spain and they were like world champions, European champions. 1-0. That was probably our best game together. But I've said numerous times, Jags and Vinny were my best partners because you knew you could trust him. I knew I could just I knew he wasn't going to play for himself. We could make a mistake any given time, obviously, but I knew it wasn't going to be like, oh, you should be there trying to help me there. So it was easy, and we've known each other forever.
Well, Joel's a lot older than me, isn't he?
24 hours. 24 hours.
Is that literally a day apart?
24 hours older than him.
Wow. It works. But
he looks a lot older than me.
Yeah, thanks.
We made our under-18s England debut together as well.
Really?
So, it's weird. So, unfortunately for us, obviously, John Terry and Rio Ferdinand were the mainstays, whilst we were sort of mid-20s and all sorts. And then it was a case of, you know, if Joel would get in there, especially playing with Rio, because he was a left side. Sometimes I'd have played with. So we didn't really get an opportunity to play together that much. And like I say, we've openly said that's what makes a good centre half. It's not so much he's the best player I've played with, or I'm the best player he's played with. It's just basically, I know if he's going up for a header, I know exactly what he's trying to do. Whether he's leaving it for the goalkeeper, going to win it, to head it out, then we're squeezing or doing whatever. That's what makes it, keeping a high line. Nothing worse trying to keep a high line than your mate behind you not trusting you. Do you know, like, it's just, that's 100%.
Because you can't always speak, you can't always hear each other, but you just know, where should he be? Where should he? He should be there. Okay, so we try and do that together. And I think
also telling each other off. Like, do you know, I had a really good relationship with Tim Howard in goal because he don't mind me saying for this. He never ever wanted to come off his line. He could jump and touch the ceiling now, but he'd never come off his line. And he told us straight flat, if you think I'm coming for it, don't. But that would be the humour. So we would then want to come up and he won't come for it, and you'd be able to turn around and literally ball at him. He'd shout you back, and then it was gone.
And it was done.
And that kept you sort of focused and sort of so into it. And same again, that's what, well, for me, made my best partnerships with players were ones that I'm going to shout at you, so you best shout back at me. Because at some part of the game, we're going to switch off, or there'll be a lull, or there'll be something. Whereas when you get the quiet partner who's nice and all sorts, he's brilliant if he's the best player in the world. But if he's not really helping you.
Yes, So quickly as well. I mean, because I want to stay. Speaking of keepers, your turn in net as well. That was a bit.
Well, that was a bit of pressure. I've been winding up the keepers. How easy it is to be in goal. I'd never been so nervous in my life. When I had to go in goal, the first time I had to go in goal was Crystal Palace away, which is not a nice ground.
Wow.
I wasn't nervous about someone beating me from 40 yards. I was concerned that, like, a pass back or something stupid.
Simple ones.
I didn't sleep for the whole... I was so wired, and I'd always took the mick out of goalkeepers saying, how are you tired? You don't do a thing. But honestly, like mentally, it was so draining. Then obviously the Arsenal one was fortunate. I didn't really have to do that much. Caught a few, saved one, and that was really it. But... like I say, it's a nice little thing to add to the career.
It's class as well. I think Kyle Walker's the one that comes
to
as well, that free kick. But you see how hard it is, because even with that free kick, you don't catch it solid, you know what I mean? Right, OK, let's pause here. We're going to go back to Goodison Park. We can hear from FG, who's with Steve Howe.
Yes, welcome back to Goodison Park. You can see the players doing their pre-match routines behind us. Steve Howe joining me pitch side. We're going to be talking about our best moments in 2023. It is our last away game of an unforgettable year. We've been told by producers we're not actually allowed to mention Istanbul because there's been so many highs, and I think we both agree that would have been our highest moment, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a fantastic night. So, yeah, I'd have gone for it, you'd have gone for it. Maybe that's why he's told us not to go for it.
But there are plenty of other incredible moments. I'm going to start this one, actually, if I may, Steve. And I'm going to start with Real Madrid at home in May, a 4-0 victory at the Etihad. For me, that's probably the most special night at the Etihad in a long, long time. We're thinking like back to probably Hamburg when we played them and didn't quite get through. 4-0 against Real Madrid, the Champions League kings. It was a special, special night, Steve.
It was, yeah. I mean, against a top quality team. We all know Real Madrid's history in not only La Liga, but obviously in the Champions League. Unbelievable players. For me, obviously, the atmosphere was superb. The quality of City on that night was absolutely scary.
And whilst we're here, we might as well mention that Etihad atmosphere, which for some reason gets questioned quite a lot by people who don't go to the Etihad. It was electric, and it was also described in the Spanish media as one of the scariest places for Real Madrid to be. So shout out to everyone in the stadium that day. Unforgettable. I remember Bernardo Silva even popping up with a header that night, Steve. It was incredible.
It was, yeah. As I said, everybody, I think on nights like that, you need everybody to perform, and everybody to perform. Some special memories, special performances, and a special night.
It was a special night indeed. Now I have to ask you what your special moment, apart from Istanbul, was.
I'm going to go for the FA Cup final against Man United. Obviously, a lot of talk before the game. Of course, it's a big rivalry, but the start as well. City got, literally seconds in the first goal, was it?
I actually can't believe I didn't go with that either. Yeah. It was İlkay Gundogan. It was the quickest goal in a final. Talk to me about the emotions of that day. Do you remember exactly where you were, what you were doing?
Yeah, I was at the game doing this. The unfortunate thing was where we were doing it was next to all the Man United fans. So it's safe to say we didn't really get a nice welcome, to be quite honest. But it was nice because... obviously to win on that day they couldn't really see a great deal.
I think it's safe to say from here at pitchside at Goodison Park, and I'm sure the people in the studio will echo me and Steve, it's been an unforgettable 2023. We're super grateful to have played a little part in it, and yeah, we're the champions of the world. So let's head back to the studio. I'm still trying to get the gilet that warms up off Steve.
A cravat.
Thank you so much, FG and Steve Howe there. Just looking a little back on some key highlights, and they mentioned there the FA Cup. We of course are celebrating the big 5 in a calendar year. You can see them around the studio, and I mean, we even said to Joleon, it's quite amazing to be surrounded by these trophies, considering as well where we've come from as a club. And we're going to do a quick reflection on the year, beginning of course with the Premier League, and a man that was key in that, Joleon, was Erling Haaland, who went on to smash all the records. It was just almost that missing piece, wasn't he, in a way, and the way he kind of came. And did you expect him to do as well as he did in that first season?
No, because no one's ever done that. So I couldn't say, yeah, I'm on recall and predicted him. I did say around 30 to 35 league goals. So, again, not necessarily surprised, and I don't want to discredit him. But what I think he brought was different types of goals. I said, I don't think City's ever going to score or not score enough goals to win the league. They will always score enough goals, but there's types of goals that only strikers score and only number 9s think about scoring. So there'll be shots and attempts on goal that they only take. And one that sticks out in my mind was 2 seasons ago with Jesus against Chelsea, and he shoots from the penalty spot with his back to goal, and I'm thinking, no, if you're not a striker, you don't think about that. Like that. And Haaland's got that, and the goal against Dortmund last year, I think the one against United, I think they're only goals that he gets. So in terms of the volume, we'll all score a high number of goals because you create so many chances, but there are specific goals that only him and Alvarez will score because they are strikers. I
mean, there's some of the stats here. I mean, 52 times he scored in his debut season. Quickest played 20 Premier League goals. That took him just 14 appearances. This is from his hat-trick against Palace. Of course, there were a few hat-tricks throughout that season. Guess you wouldn't have fancied coming up against him, Phil?
No. To be fair, there was a few more number 9s around when me and Joel played, but this is different. This is you're a team now that's going to control the ball, so you either just stand off and let them take the mick for the whole game and don't go anywhere near him, or you try and get near him and then give it to De Bruyne, who often enough slides one and he puts him in. The funny thing was, I remember watching the Charity Shield that year.
Yeah.
And
he missed.
People were on his back a lot, because obviously they'd signed Nunez, Liverpool signed Nunez, he'd signed Haaland, it was part of the ponytails, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it was a case of he kept on making these runs, and obviously Man City had that striker who basically would make a run and say, find me. I think after literally 1 or 2 games, it was like when you're playing FIFA or whatever, you press the run fast button, through ball, De Bruyne was putting him in, and it gave Man City such a different type of play that no team knew how to deal with. I think this season's obviously been a little bit stop-start. Obviously, De Bruyne has not been playing as much.
Yeah.
And teams will now either try and sit deeper or change their way, which has obviously probably allowed other players in the teams to get a bit more freedom and stuff like that. So this is what Pep does. Pep causes a problem. Teams try and solve it, and then he creates a new one.
I also think what you're saying there before is that because he's arguably one of a kind in today's game, teams don't know how to cope with it. Like, there was multiple versions, not as good as Haaland, obviously, but there was versions of that. So teams had to think about that in other games, so you kind of figure a way. So if that was Drogba, you had to find a way to stop his strengths, and then all of a sudden they're bringing on a Anelka.
Yeah.
There's a different type of striker, and it was Adebayor and Van Persie.
Well, even when you look at Michael Owen came on the scene, he was that quick.
Yes.
But he wasn't 6'2", and he wasn't doing karate kicks in the goal like Haaland is. So he had one aspect of it where if you put a through ball, you were not catching him, and he was good at finishing. Haaland's good at finishing.
Yes.
But you couldn't chip a ball up to the back post to Owen because he wouldn't win it. So what you've got with Haaland is basically Drogba, Owen, and whoever else all rolled into one. What you're supposed to do, unless you've got. Which obviously is a lot more athletic centre-halves and stuff now, but it's still impossible. If he goes... and the ball's not shabby to him, is it?
No.
It's not like he's chasing one into the corner, like he's probably taking half a touch and scoring.
He's putting on a sixpence. Well, you mentioned as well, I mean, a key part in that Premier League thing as well was Kevin De Bruyne as well. I mean, he broke the assist record, and that then kind of secured he was the quickest player to 100 Premier League assists in April, so an incredible feat for him. So we kicked off with that trophy there, which then kind of sparked the run. And then I want to kind of bring in, we were just touching upon him actually just off camera there, Ilkay Gundogan. And we're going to show, obviously, the goal from the FA Cup final. I mean, this is unbelievable. To do it against United, for it to be the second trophy, it was amazing, Joleon.
Yeah.
Also, he was so key. I mean, he's been so pivotal to City's success in the last few years.
Oh, definitely. I arguably say he's the best midfielder at playing in every position. I don't think if you ever put Kev as a 6 or Rodri as a 10, they have the same impact as he does in all of the positions. And I think there was times, not many, but there's occasions when Rodri doesn't play, he can play there and you don't really notice it as much. I definitely think he was the most intelligent midfielder they had. I remember speaking to Cheeky and we were discussing the roles he plays, and he says in his own half he plays as a 10 and in the opposition half he can play as a 6, and it was like recognising he can just see the pictures of the whole setup.
Well, he was one of Pep's first.
Yeah, his first signing.
And you can see why, because obviously when he comes, you expect it to be a striker, an attacking player, someone that I'm not saying no one had heard of him, but what I'm saying is he wasn't the star player, but he was desperate to get him.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't the quickest or the best first season he'd ever had, but if you ever were going to question Pep, which a lot of people don't really do, you would never again. Like you say, to be able to play any of those roles must have managed
ridiculously effective, and I'd spoke to him numerous times, and he's a student of the game.
Yeah,
he won that will go into coaching.
Yeah, could be a manager.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, listen, we're back with you for the weekend as well, which is where then we're going to talk about the 3 trophies that are behind Joleon and Phil with FG. But I think it's just nice to reflect on what can only be described, I think, as the best 12 months to be a Manchester City fan in our history. It's absolutely frightening, and the absolute best it could be. Right, gents. I mean, that's flown by. Few minutes left, so we have got Alistair Mann, who's with Andy Morrison and your commentary team. Of course, we're taking on Everton at Goodison Park. Let's get some final thoughts before predictions. I think this is going to be quite a tight game, Phil, obviously, with the form Everton are coming into it. City as well, granted maybe off the trophy, but it's not going to be easy tonight at Goodison Park.
No, like I said, the confidence will be back. We hope, as Joel said, it's a tough one with Man City. If you sit off them, you're taking away all your advantage of the travelling and the intimidation factor and all sorts. Everton have been fast starters in the Premier League at the moment, so they'll go for it, which could potentially leave gaps and stuff for Man City to exploit. But for me, I've got my Everton obviously hat on today, so I'm hoping it'll be a 2-1 win for the Toffees.
2-1 win for the Toffees. Yeah. I mean, Joleon, from the City point of view, it's not easy. How do you think City are going to come at this, and a prediction from you?
Yeah, no, I think it'll be tight, definitely, but I'm more optimistic due to Everton's form. I'd be more nervous if they hadn't won in like 3 or 4 and it was like backs against the walls, because Goodison is a horrible place to go then. But in regards to current form, you're in a good place. Like, you go away there, you win a game, you perform well, and you're world champions. And listen, it's never an easy place to go. It's never a fixture you want or you look for as a fan or a player, but I'm confident City win this game.
Score?
2-0.
2-0. Right, 2-0 from Joleon City, 2-1 from Phil to Everton, and of course earlier on as well we had 3-1 as well from Harry, who was great to have on the show. Massive shout out to him. And that's it from us. So listen, we're back at half-time, and don't forget, if you entered that competition in the Liverpool game to try and win 2 tickets to come to the Etihad Stadium, Els asked you the question in the VT. Well, if you sent us in an answer, and thousands of you did, come back at half-time, because I'm going to be revealing the winner of that competition. Myself will be back with Joleon and Phil, who I've absolutely loved sitting with and chatting with. So we're going to get their take on the first half and the second half at full time. But for now, make sure you get over to the Man City app. Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison have got your commentary. Thank you so much for watching. The boys are leaving the tunnel, so I'm going to leave it there. I'll see you at half time. Last thing for me to say, come on, City.
Well, thank you, Kel. So the world's best team have returned to the UK from Saudi Arabia to find themselves in the unusual position of 5th in the Premier League table and some 8 points adrift of the leaders.